Hello, hello, hello. So if you've seen any of my videos, you'll know that I have a T500 from Distilled Spirits, and I love it. Now, what I have is the stainless steel version. It's really good, really love it. I've always wanted the copper one. Now, at the time when I bought this, I only had enough money to buy the stainless steel, couldn't afford the copper. It is what it is. So, really enjoy it. Now, I went out a few days ago and I bought myself my precious, the Copper T500. Now, I'm not going to discuss the reasonings of why you'd want to buy the copper version over the stainless steel. That's for another video. Right now, it's more for you to see what you get out of the box and also how to plug it in together. So, put this down. I only got this a couple of days ago. I just thought, I want one. I've wanted one for a while. So, darn it, if I can get it into the box, I'm going to get one. So the first thing you'll see, let's get it this way around, is a beautiful copper. Now, they've already got the packing in here, so you won't see any bags in for the copper or stainless steel packing. Already in here, you've got the base, the water cap in there also. So this is going to look a little bit different side by side, height-wise, but that's solely because, as I say, that's got the nut on. Now the main differences are, as you can see, all the tubes are copper. Up here in the stainless steel version, the only bit that's actually copper is the top tube here, because the coil inside for the refluxing is copper, and it goes all the way down to here and then comes out to join steel. Whereas obviously on the copper version, it literally is all copper. The only things that aren't copper on this version are the plastic cups here and the stainless steel screws they use. And the same thing, obviously, at the bottom there. And most of the saddles or the packing inside is the stainless steel, the standard. So there you go, pretty much identical. Personally, I think it looks a lot nicer, but that's more because we just know that copper is good for stills. So let's put this away for a second. Now, what you'll have inside here, let's do it delicately. You'll have the bolt that obviously goes through the lid to clamp onto this, and then you'll have a, if I can get my fingers on it, is the rubber washer. Now, don't keep this in here all the time. It's going to warp eventually. And if you're quite happy for it to warp and just to buy spare ones, then go for it. But I always think store it out. There we go. So we have a rubber washer. Now what I generally do is once I'm not using it, I'll just put this in a bag and keep it to one side. So let's pull all these saddles out, packing out even. Try not to get them everywhere. There we go, I can hear that's empty now. So let's have a closer look at this. Here you go. As you can see, quite a lot of the stainless steel, and this is what they look like close up. Quite cleverly made, I think. And then you've got the copper as well, which you can see just little bits of bent copper. Nice and shiny because they're new, but trust me, after the first use, they'll look pretty dingy and awful. Okay, so the next things we'll get is, we open this box, and here is a little plastic holder for a temperature sensor. There we go. It's a little temperature sensor. It's quite cute. Now, the idea of this is this measures the water flow of the cooling water, the output of the cooling water. Many other stills will measure the temperature of the vapor at the top, whereas this does it by measuring the output water, and you can calculate it back. So, stick this in there now. One thing to let you know that obviously which size you want it to view is up to you. I have it this way around because I have my taps on this side and I then have my collection container over here. That's where the tube is. So I will want it this side. So let's grab something to turn this on. Nope, it's got a plastic tab. Wonderful. It's a good little tab inside the battery to stop you it switching on during shipping. There we go. And my one's set to centigrade. Yours might be different depending on the country you're in. So let's feed this into the little holder and just push it in. There we go. And then that clips onto the product condenser tube. And then that will then come round to here. Now, don't push it down too hard. If you push it too hard, you might block a hole. So what happens is when the water comes out here, it flows down to the tube. If you have this in too far, it could block the water coming out. It can come out the top. Also, don't play with it or move it when you've actually got it running, because again, you can cause a backdraft and water will then spurt out everywhere. The other thing it can do is when you've got this running, you'll see that air bubbles are coming through the tube here. Now it looks quite strange, but there's no bubbles coming in for the cooling. The reason being is it's sucking air in through the top where this temperature sensor is. So some people get a bit of PTFE tape, put it around it. You could use blue tack, but the problem is this will get potentially very hot, and it might not melt the blue tack, but make it very icky, gooey, and not very nice. So blue tack probably isn't the best solution. You could use an insulating tape, anything you want to. I'm going to see how this goes, because obviously I'll only know after first use of how it will actually be. So yep, there's that. Now, next bit is you get your ceramic boiling enhancers, and they give you 30 grams of these. These obviously you throw into your boiler when you're doing boiling a wash. If you don't have some already, great, you got some now. But if you do already have some, might as well throw these in. They get manky over time, they can break, or you can just generally lose them. So there's not an issue by having too much in the boiler. So I'm just going to throw these into the boiler. And even though I've got, say, a load already. And then we have needle valves. Oh, there's a sticky pad and a screw here. I must confess, not particularly sure why you've got a sticky pad. It's like double-sided sticky foam and a screw. I would assume it's probably to do with the temperature sensor. I'll have a look. But anyway, regulator. Break open that bag. So in here, you get your needle valve. These are really, really good little needle valves. Very, very precise, and they work an absolute dream. So it's quite simple. You'll put your garden hose on here, or your kitchen tap, whatever you want, or if you're using a reservoir, that can go onto there. This tube goes out to the actual T500, and then you adjust your needle valve just by twisting it up and down. Bit of a tip for you. Get a closed peg or something else to put on here, because trying to adjust it by your fingers, it's easy enough, but just a tiny little movement can throw it up 2, 3, 5 even degrees. So using a closed peg is quite large. You can move it at even smaller degrees. And inside that, you then get different adapters. And they go in here if you've then got a tap, which then screws outer, or if it goes in, and if you need a bigger thread, then you can then put onto here. And there's even a garden hose attachment. So I don't know about other worldwide, but in the UK, this is the standard one we have. That's going to screw in here. So you can literally just clonk on your hose pipe. And there's a couple of silicon washers, a white and a black one. The black, I'm assuming, will be for the bigger adapter. Yes, it is. And the white one isn't for this because that's already got one. So, let's go into there. So these are really handy. Really handy for the fact of giving you all these different adapters. Then the next thing is the tubing. Yeah, there's nothing else in there. No, I don't think there's anything in there. No. So tubing. Now, the first tube that you want to use is this small one. What this does is this is for connecting the water comes obviously in through here, cooling water up through the tube, and you put this on here and over to this one. Now I'm not putting them on fully, because what I'll do is I'll heat them up with a bit of hot water to make them rubbery and expand more, and I'll better push it all the way down then. So the water comes down through here and then out through this pipe here. And that's what this is for. So there's one big tube that has writing all over it. It says still spirits water discharge tubing for T500 condenser. Connect to outlet block and run to drain. So in other words, you connect that up to here. And again, it can be a little bit sticky to push on. So cup of hot water from your kettle, dunk the tube in for 5, 6, 7 seconds, and then it will go a lot smoother. And then your other PVC tube is your water in. So that will go under here. And it's not going to drop. And then the other side will then go onto your needle valve, like that. And that's how that will connect into the water, goes through that route. Now, the last tube is a very special tube, hence it's white, not see-through. This is a PTFE tube. Now, you've got to be very careful with high ABV spirits. They can't get in contact, or mustn't get in contact with the majority of plastics, rubbers and silicons, because the ethanol is so thin it can actually get into the walls of the lining of the tube, and then it can actually start dissolving it, and then the dissolved material will then get into the water or the fluid flow, and that will then come out into your collection container, and now you've got tainted spirit, which A, could smell bad, B, could taste bad, and 3, could actually be quite poisonous. So that's why they give you a PTFE, because PTFE is food safe, but also safe for high grade spirits. Now, if you want to, you can get yourself an 8mm copper tube, get it from most hardware stores, and then you can put that on the ends of here. You will need some PTFE tape to go around to create a good seal, but then you can then use copper tube, and that can bend quite well, whereas this doesn't bend so well. Although this is a bit more flexible than the ones I'm used to. But as you can see, I'm bending and it stays. Now, depending on where your boiler is, if it's on the floor, or on a kitchen surface, or a table, obviously this is going to be a lot higher. And when you put this on your tube, that may need to go higher or lower. Obviously, never have it higher. Never put the tube higher than here, because that will fill up with fluid and it will then create backup. It's got to go naturally lower. So if you need to cut it, you can cut it with scissors, a knife, or some wire snips or anything like that. This must go lower than here. And there we go. That's it. So that's really it. There's not a great deal I can say. So if realistically, I think it looks much nicer. Hopefully it will get more sulfur out. But yeah, very nice, very impressed. Now, the last things that are in the box, which aren't really important at all, are the manuals, because obviously, why would anyone need to read manuals? So the last thing that's in here is a flavoring range, and it just looks like a sales pitch for distilled spirits, telling you all the different essences and flavorings you can get from them, and flavoring guides if you like Malibu, which ones to buy, Tia Maria. We then have a distilling quick guide, quickly all the different days from making a wash to when to distill and how to flavor, obviously using their stuff. And the final one is an instruction manual. This, from memory, when I bought this this is talking about how to make a mash. It does go through how it works and how to put the tubes on, which is kind of handy. Yeah, and then, but most of it is the troubleshooting guide, which is kind of handy, and then a bit of a diagram of showing the inside of how it actually works, which is, and some little Q&As and facts in there, glossary, and then we've got a nice picture of the adapter and water flow regulator and the different sizes they are. So yeah, all in all, really built well. I really do like it. Now, this isn't a product review in a sense that anyone's given me this to do a product review. Still Spirits do not know anything about this. I purchased this with my own money. I did not ask for anything from anyone. I did not tell anyone's going to do a review. I just wanted a T500 in copper. So I just thought I'd go and buy it. And since I know there are people who are curious to buy one and don't know what they look like or what comes in the box and what else you need to buy, so why not do it? So outside of this, all you need is a boiler. Obviously, you've got your boiler, then your wash, and that's pretty much it. You will need some distilling conditioner to stop your wash from foaming up, depending on how much sugar's left. Now, you could buy distilling conditioner from your brewing shop, or else just use some oil-based product. It could be vegetable oil, coconut oil, butter, margarine, anything that helps break the surface temperature, to help get rid of stuff and really flat that up, but I cannot remember what it's called, but you know what I mean. So yeah, there you go. I hope that you've found that helpful. Thank you very much. See you later.